welcome, YouTube friends. Smash like and subscribe as we talk all things Tottenham and football food culture. Well, you might know today's special guest is an internet and TV foodie. He also happens to be a massive soccer fan and a Spurs diehard. So no better person to discuss Antonio Conte's strict dietary guidelines and the gastronomy choices available at Premier League grounds. The host of the History Channel's Adam Eats the 80s and Modern Marvels, as well as soon-to-be-released collaboration with Complex, the Meals That Made Me podcast. He's the former host of the international Hitman versus Food and a shareholder in League Two side Grimsby Town. It's my honor to welcome in Mr. Adam Richman. Qué Golazo begins right now.
Qué Golazo, thank you so much.
How are you, Adam? Welcome to the show, buddy.
I am honored to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Before taping, we were just talking about the fact that we're both New Yorkers, but you are leaving the city. You're moving to the suburbs. Are you excited about that or what?
No, I mean, I've been here for about a year. It's an adjustment, but I think gratitude is the attitude. I mean, I get to have a roof over my head, clean water, that's a blessing right there. So to be able to have green space, I fell in love with gardening over the pandemic. So to be able to grow my own herbs and veggies and, I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm not used to seeing bunny rabbits in my yard and chipmunks and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't have to watch a nature program. I go in my backyard. So that's cool. And literally I have space to set up cones and a little pop-up goal in my backyard. So like so many people, I think when the weekend comes and you watch the Premier League season start and then you're like, I want to kick a ball around. I actually have space to do that. Sadly, I don't have anyone to do it with. So it's just, I have to work on that part.
Hey, all good, man. Just find a wall and you will be absolutely fine. But Adam, absolutely a pleasure to have you. Welcome everybody to Qué Golazo. Today with Adam, we're going to talk a lot about some football, some food, and have Adam's opinions regarding the state of the Premier League and, of course, USMNT as the World Cup comes near. Adam, first of all, I was just intrigued. Obviously, you're a Brooklynite. You live in Westchester now. How did you become a Tottenham fan?
Gareth Bale. I wanted to support a club, and it was funny. My sound guy is one of my best friends. Told me, don't declare a club. I know you're falling in love with the game, but the moment you do that, you alienate every single fan from an opposing club, or if you have a view of that club that even your fellow supporters don't share, like it's so tribal, it's so vicious. But I thought that was a little bit of like a bitch made move, like if I don't put any skin in the game. And I knew that at that time, United, Chelsea, City was coming on with all that Etihad money. And Arsenal were pretty much who everyone supported in the States. And I wanted to support someone that still had a real shot and still had a lot of talent, but wasn't necessarily a guaranteed lock, that didn't have a Russian oligarch's money or lots of Middle Eastern money coming into it. And so I loved the spirit that Rafael van der Vaart played with. I mean, the guy just played with his heart on his sleeve. And at the time, Spurs had Luka Modric, who was just spectacular to watch. Kyle Walker, again, was just this blazing fast right back. And Gareth Bale. And I actually did my very first press junket in England right around when the game versus Inter happened, when they started chanting "Taxi" for Maicon.
Yeah.
And that right. What he was able to do with his left foot was just, that game that you just brought that picture up. I mean, Maicon was at the time one of the most formidable backs in the world, to quote Rafael van der Vaart, and Bale has just killed him. And it was just, and then I fell in love with, I loved Harry Redknapp's post-match interviews. Scotty Parker, someone, an English fan had written on Twitter, like, when Scotty Parker is trying to stop a train door from closing, he'll use his head. I mean, I just love someone who'll dive into a 50-50 like that. And then because they didn't have all this money, that they're always, I mean, let's be honest, Spurs have had the uncanny ability to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. I was at the Battle of the Bridge. We were up 2-0 at the half before Aiden Hazard remembered that he was Aiden Hazard and leveled us, and we gave the league to Leicester that day. So they're the cardiac kids for sure, but I love their history. I love that it's not a guarantee. We won't always have the big marquee signings, but I think under Conte and with the incredible spend we just did, there is a chance to see a very new Tottenham in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Just so you know, I'm Peruvian, but I immigrated to England when I was 11. I'm a lifelong Aston Villa fan, and I've seen the rise of Tottenham. There was a time when Tottenham were pretty dreary, and then obviously, even when they were successful, they were going to do something Spursy. But as to your point, Antonio Conte's Tottenham is here to stay. I gave our predictions on CBS Sports last week, Adam, and I have very high hopes for your Tottenham. I think Antonio Conte and the team itself, it's going to be a big season for Kulusevski, of course, Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, Richarlison coming in. What a great squad. Just give me your thoughts just on this past weekend, the 4-1 win against Southampton. What'd you make of the squad? What'd you make of the result?
I regret my fantasy team choice of signing De Bruyne instead of Kulusevski, and I regret not putting Dier in my back line. And it was so funny because I knew I was going to get Harry, I knew I was going to get Sonny, but that's what I mean. It's like, who expected the ginger from Sweden, from Juve, to come in with these gorgeous curling shots? Again, someone with a surprising amount of pace. I mean, with those sort of, it reminded me of like when Riyad Mahrez had that magic season with Leicester, that his ability to go from first to fifth gear, then cut in from the wing and keep the ball like right there. And I think as the other signings, so few new signings jump right in with both feet. It's a new system. So I think once we start working in Longley and start working in Perisic and start working in Jed Spence to a greater degree, and my gosh, I mean, the fact that we're doing, we have a season with the World Cup tangled into it, that we don't have to wear Harry Kane into the ground. And, like you said, there was a time we needed Harry Kane to come on to beat Morecambe. And now to have Richarlison, to have contributions from people like Kulusevski, hopefully Perisic in the wing, I think that could be an incredibly, incredibly special thing. And who knows, like, we still have Dane Scarlett and Troy Parrott and players that really have such profound potential. I just can't wait till we get that real hinge from the front to the back. We had it briefly with Eriksen. We obviously had it deeply with Modric. So Madison didn't work out for us. But this season and this weekend, I think, showed that we are on the cusp of something very special. I only wish, because he's a friend of mine, I love Maurizio Pochettino. And I just wish, we made it to the Champions League final devoid of any action in either transfer window. And I only wish, I wonder what he would have done with a $150 million spend.
Well, I think a lot of managers with Tottenham probably won the world.
Yeah, no doubt. Tim Sherwood was like, yo, get a brother, get a lap dance. Come on, man.
Antonio Conte did something kind of unimaginable and allowed Daniel Levy to finally loosen those purse strings. Hey, how about, you mentioned Pochettino, obviously, in the Champions League. And, he took him to the final. It was a loss to Liverpool in the end.
I was there, I know.
Yeah, one of the most boring Champions League finals ever, by the way.
What did you think of the handball? What did you think of that handball?
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. Regardless of the handball or not, I didn't see Tottenham winning this game at all anyway, just overall. But I don't think he wanted to, because now I think with Antonio Conte, this season, this Champions League campaign, what are your expectations? Because you mentioned the squad. Yves Bissouma is another one as well in that midfield.
Right.
This is a very good team. So what do you make of your chances? Because one of the things about Antonio Conte and his system is that he sometimes struggles with the fact that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it's going to be tough regarding heading into the season. Champions League wise, what are your hopes for Tottenham this campaign?
I think we have an incredibly fit team. So I think that we will have the ability to run certain teams into the ground. And I think we have something now we haven't had before, which is depth in certain positions. I mean, quite frankly, just the fact that to have Richarlison to alternate for Kane when he's healthy, I mean, that alone, I mean, there was never really another potent threat up front. And now we're playing in the day and age of Darwin Nunez and Erling Haaland and guys that we really see are proving to be as big threats as we anticipated. You know, we see Woolwich with Gabriel Jesus doing amazing, amazing things. And I think if he is smart about using these substitutions, working in these new signings, especially with the World Cup coming and players wanting to not, risk their bodies as much, I think that if he is smart with using players when they are, and obviously people already know what kind of dietary control he's working over the players. I had heard this chant. They go, Antonio Conte, he plays the Tottenham way. First he banned the ketchup. Now we ban the mayonnaise. Ole, ole, ole. But it's the truth. And John Terry, whatever you think of him, said that Conte had him in the best shape of his life. And in fact, he tweeted a picture of him with a cup of tea, a book, and a couple of biscuits on the book. And Conte tweeted him back, only one biscuit, John. So,
very good.
He wants him still to look good for Wayne Bridges' wife, I guess. So I think that I'm sorry, spilling my own tea. But no, I think that Conte, Paratici, the sporting director, have a vision for the future. And I think between the youth players that they have, I think that this is a team, that's not these sort of mid-table bottle jobs that we had seen where, losing Bale and Modric so fast and then losing Kyle Walker to City and watching these iconic players, and you find yourself hoping that Michael Dawson has a good game. You know what I'm saying? No offense, Dawes, but come on, man. And there's also to see Oliver Skip, for example, coming out as a profound help in the holding midfield next to Højbjerg. I think that's something new. What Moussa Dembele gave us in terms of controlling possession has never really been recreated, and I think that until we have that Makalele role, that John Obi Mikel role to hold the ball, and then have that one hinge, that one beautiful attacking midfielder that you see with Bruno Fernandes and the type that you see with Kevin De Bruyne, if we could find that link to get the ball to Kulu or to get the ball out to Sonny and swing it in on a beautiful cross. You see Dyer now has an eye for goal and the power to actually make it accurate. Shoot, I remember playing fantasy where you just wanted Leighton Baines because he was one of the only people contributing on defense. So I think the game now, the high press demands so much of players. And I think that we now have a level of fitness because when you're playing against teams with people like Trent Alexander-Arnold, who can hurt you from set pieces as much as from open play, Tottenham need to shore up their back line. And that's the one thing I think that's going to be the difference. I think as much as we're going to look at Richarlison and these exciting goal-scoring threats, Betancourt, Cudi Romero.
Well, that's why Yves Bissouma, I guess, is a major objective here because that's why he came on. One of a very good player from a very good Brighton side now coming into Tottenham. So that will be an expectation. All right, let's talk about the Premier League in general. Obviously, it's very early. We've just had match day 1. Manchester City did their thing. Of course, your North London derby rivals Arsenal as well did a good result on Friday. It's going to be tough for a top 6 fight, for a top 4 fight. Which teams worry you the most, Adam?
You just said it. The very first game I went to, courtesy of this guy, my buddy Clint Dempsey, got me tickets to my very first match, live match, which was a North London derby at Emirates. And we've, been blessed to finish above them, so we don't get that St. Totteringham's Day tweets anymore. But you can see, Zinchenko is a threat at City. He's proving, a real obstacle at the back line now. And Martinelli, Odegaard, guys that have the sauce, man. They're hard to get the ball off of. It's a hard side to break down. This next game against Chelsea, you have a great signing in your back line. You've got a really solid goalie now. You obviously have all that talent that was already there. And you saw it. I mean, Tuchel really took the team by the scruff of the neck and made them something special. I think right now Liverpool is going to be a hard side to break down. I think City is always going to be a hard side to break down. I think Arsenal. And those are the three that I think have always proven to be really, really difficult. I think it's weird to have this conversation and United not really be in the mix there. But those are the three that I am unquestionably most worried about.
Yeah, absolutely. Rightly said. As we know from the intro, as I mentioned, obviously so many good things happening for you professionally in the food world. History Channel, Sans Eat the 80s, Modern Marvels, the Complex Pot, The Meals That Made Me. That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about food culture. Obviously,
please.
You've traveled a little bit. Give me your thoughts on just the UK's overall soccer food scene. What do you think?
It depends. It depends where you go. I was blessed to do a show called Match Day Menus with Copa 90, and where I traveled, and it was about food and footy, like what fans eat before, during, and after the game. So generally, before and after the game, I mean, it's Europe, man. Like the food's generally pretty awesome. But during the match, it depends. And I think what's so cool is it depends on the ground. Morecambe, for example, was voted best pies in football, and Harrods, the legendary department store on the old Brompton Road, was selling the pies from Morecambe FC, the Mighty Shrimps of Morecambe, and they are breathtakingly good. They have incredible pastry, delicious fillings, but I think there is a world beyond pies, and I love when I see Stadia really begin to change that, especially as these big entities, whether it's Russian money or in Chelsea's case, American money, or Liverpool even to an extent, right? The Fenway family pouring money in, that they realize it can't just be about product on the pitch, though that's obviously important. They now want to create a better fan experience. I was at the first game at the new Tottenham Stadium, and, they have those cool beer cups that fill from the bottom up. They have that neck oil, this great beer, that local beer that they're giving a real big leg up to. You're getting much, much better food choices. I think that, as an American who's kind of spoiled for choice, that we could go to Qualcomm Stadium and get like a bomb fish taco. You go to see the San Francisco Giants play, and they've got hydroponic herbs growing. You go to, there's like sushi at Yankee Stadium and stuff now. And Danny Meyer from the Shake Shack group is doing his thing. That it was only a matter of time before the key European grounds followed suit, because how often are fans going to see their counterparts having these delicious Fenway Franks or Gilroy garlic fries and going, I don't want a cold sausage roll anymore, my dude. Give me some pulled pork. Give me some barbecue chicken wings. And the other thing that I think is really cool is that you see different grounds are making the ground an experience. So now fans are staying after the match to listen to music, to hang out, and they've embedded bits of their history around there. And I think that's the stuff that's so special. I went to the Anoeta when I was in San Sebastian filming something. There was no game. Griezmann was obviously, the hotness at the time. But to be able to go around and learn the history of the club and learn the history as it relates to the Basque culture and its independence from Spain and conflicts and stuff.
I just came from there, and it's really? Exactly right. And that's right. I mean, it's I'm Peruvian. To me, food is honestly the central theme of everything. So when you include it and you make it, as you said, as a central theme of the game, just how Spain does so well, and Italy as well, and all these other countries. It's just so great. Let's play a little game here, Adam. I got a fun game for you.
Because I have a question for you. I need a favor because of your Peruvian connection, though. That sounds really jacked up. I need a favor with your Peruvian connection.
Anytime, my friend. Anytime.
Here's my one question for you. So I love collecting kits. I've had to sell some off just because I went a little overboard. But there's a club in Bolivia, Club Always Ready. Yeah, I want to get a kit from Club Always Ready just because I love their name so much.
They have some great names over there in Bolivia, like the strongest as well.
If you or anyone watching this has hookups in Bolivia, I want a kit from Club Always Ready so badly just because I love their name.
There's Jorge Wilstermann as well, the strongest. There's so many cool names. Absolutely.
The old boys, where are we going to get that?
We'll make it happen. We'll make a list of it. All right, let's play this game.
Yes, sir.
Des Norris, throw it up, buddy. Foodie Scran, obviously a great account on Twitter, sharing all the food from. So let's make you judge some of these. All right, put it up, Des. Let's put the first one here. This one's from Brighton. It's obviously chips, peas, and gravy. I mean, substantial gravy. I can see. How would you rate this one from Brighton? $3.50.
Well, I have to do with the American math, so I'm like, damn, that's $7. But
I mean, actually, I think it's around the same right now. It's probably about $3.50, $3.75. Let's say $4 for the sake of argument.
I would want personally. I mean, I'm sure it's delicious. I'd want a little more protein just from my own palate. So I'm gonna.
If you were to grade it, give me.
Are we going yellow card, red card, or?
Yeah, I like it. That's a great idea, my friend. Let's do a yellow card or a red card.
I'm giving that a yellow.
Okay, we're giving that a yellow. Sorry, Brighton. We need a little more protein. All right, this is from Fulham, Craven Cottage, in a stadium that I know very well. I went to uni very close. I worked at Craven Cottage back in the day. This was not around when I was working. Chicken tikka naan bread at Fulham here, Adam. What $7.50? So we're talking about. It's probably about $9. This. What would you grade this? Yellow or red?
I'm already loving this because anyone who has gone to the UK, especially around London, knows. There's a huge Southeast Asian community, and to represent the community that's outside the ground, inside the ground, is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So yellow is a warning. Red is definitely
red is no way.
We need something for a yes. So maybe like a goal or something. Would you?
Yeah, or like promotion. Yeah, or like really good is obviously Golazo.
Yeah.
Then there's maybe Golazo, bottom corner, crossbar, yellow, red. So
what'd you give this?
Bottom corner. I'm going to say bottom corner on this one because it's you don't need the fork. You can use the bread. It's got something to soak up pre and during match beers. It's got a little bit of protein, but it's also culturally relevant to the community that it serves. And again, it's Fulham, which gave us the highest goal scorer, and my buddy Deuce Dempsey. And I got to train at their ground for soccer in 2014. So nice. Bottom corner, bang.
All right, so Fulham is winning. So bottom corner goal there from Craven Cottage. Right, this is I want you to remove your heart away from your judgment here. I know where this is sticky Korean glazed prawns, rice, and Asian slaw at Arsenal. 17 pounds, a bit pricey. So you're looking about $20. How'd you grade this one?
You know what? I would have given them top bins if not for the price. Because you said it's 17.
Yeah, 17 quid. So about $20.
For the problem, I love it and it's gorgeous and I bet it's delicious. And I love that they're bringing. I mean, look, they brought in Tomiyasu, so they obviously know that they want to appeal to.
They're repping.
Crowd. The price. And again, I don't know what it's costing them, but the price is the only thing that's keeping them from top bins and the Golazo. But it's still wonderful. And again, especially in a day and age where there is so much discrimination against the Asian community, that to represent them at the football ground, I think is so important. So as much as it pains me because it's Woolwich Wanderers.
Let's give it a penalty.
Oh, really? I was going to say, Jesus from the spot. Bang.
Boom. I love it. All right, let's move to the next one. This is from your own ground, my friend. Lotus Biscoff donut at Tottenham. $2.95, like $3.50.
I mean, it's not even my bias. My fat ass is just looking at this going, this is delicious.
I want that.
I'm going to say, Qué Golazo.
I knew you were going to go there. I love it. It's a great price, though. It's a great price, right? All right, let's go here. Oh, look at this. I wonder if you recognize this, Adam. Scotch egg at Grimsby Town. £4, which is about $6. How do you rate this?
Okay, so Scotch eggs. I mean, they should come with like an angioplasty or at least a rebate on your health insurance. You know what
so
the
true.
thing is? So the only reason why, and I'm a shareholder in this club.
I know, that's why we brought it up.
I think it is a great looking Scotch egg because the yolk is runny, which is why I'm going to give it the dot shot from the spot. The only reason why I can't give it a Golazo or top bins is because they are the Mariners of Grimsby Town, and that town's been voted the best fish and chips. And there's a place called Steele's, Steele''S, and their fish and chips are transcendent. Like, nothing to do with my shareholding this, nothing to do with my sponsorship of Broadley FC, which is a Sunday League team in that same area in Cleethorpes. But compared to the fish, I don't know if the sausage and the Scotch egg can hang. But I mean, to keep the yolk running and to be able to give that to your fans, I'm going to give you a good dot shot penalty.
Okay, a pen. That's good. And you make a very good point about the fish. I mean, the fish is in your badge, for crying out loud. You feel like that should be the thing, right? Absolutely. Well,
absolutely.
I love it. I love it, Adam. That was fantastic. All right, so let's wrap up here. You mentioned your boy Deuce Dempsey. He's actually colleague of the show, of course, part of our qualifying campaign for the World Cup for the USMNT, who are heading to Qatar. It was a great weekend for Brendan Aronson, Tyler Adams, Jesse Marsh, of course, and there's so much more talent. Gio Reyna's back to being fit. We already know about Pulisic at Chelsea. How are you feeling about, well, let's talk about, first of all, just your overall perspective of Americans and how well they're doing these days.
I mean, you said it. I mean, it's always like there's one or two standard bearers for us that were always like, well, who we would use in an argument. Kobe Jones, Landon Donovan, Dempsey, and what he and Pavel Pogrebniak were able to do together at Fulham. And remember, Deuce was a Spur for a while. I think finally there are players that are true threats and considered as good as or as vital as their native-born counterparts. To see, I mean, Holland is an incredibly talented striker. Holland at Dortmund with Gio Reyna was something incredibly special. And I think that that's what's going to happen. And what I've always said is, what if someone put a ball at LeBron's feet instead of his hands? You know, we have kids who play their way out of favelas, who play their way out of council houses and council blocks on the south side of the Thames, that there's so much talent in the poorer communities that the moment we start making the beautiful game accessible to every class of American, you will, and financially viable, I think, you know, you have a massive Brazilian community within a stone's throw of the New York Red Bulls arena. One of those kids, one of those men, women, has something special. So I think the more we can engage the magnificent melting pot in this country and activate, you know, I had one of the best coaches I ever had when I was playing in youth was a Polish guy. And we have all this culture and all this cultural aspect that the moment American kids go, I want to be a baller, but I want to do that, as opposed to shooting hoops or, you know, playing football or even playing hockey in some of the colder states. That's when I think the change is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen right away, but you see that there's a shift. And the moment, you know, think about it.
No, it's already happening, Adam. Like, from a participation perspective, in the U.S., it's the most played sport in the country, more than the NFL, more than baseball, and in participation, not watching, not viewership. And to your point, because it's such a beautiful melting pot, it's just time. All it takes is time for finally, to your point, underserved communities to get that attention and so on.
100%. But to look at the, you know, when they always show the roster of the national squad and then they show who they play for, it used to be predominantly, you know, MLS sides or USL sides and stuff like this. But now, Serginho Dest, Barcelona, you know, Christian Pulisic, Chelsea,
Yunus Musa, et cetera. Right, exactly.
And so now that you're seeing Tyler Adams in Leipzig and what have you, that now you're seeing that not only can Americans succeed amongst themselves, but they can play with some of the best in the world. And I think that's inspirational. And I obviously, I love our coach. I love the behind the back pass. And he's a terrific guy. And he also himself has experience playing, coaching at the international level.
So let me interlude there then. What are your hopes for the USMNT at Qatar? What do you think?
If they're healthy, I think it will be our best finish. I think right now, with the youth in sides like England, with the strength that you'll find in certain South American sides, the Seleção and, obviously the Argentinian sides, we're still going to bump up against a lot because Pulisic is a standout. He's not the standard yet. But I think that instead of, Pepe was out and we kind of got lucky with Ronaldo helping us into that round of 16. But I could see us making that round very easily and actually giving really top sides a very hard time.
Absolutely correct. Well, it's been great, Adam Richman, for you to be part of the show. As I mentioned, don't forget his new collab with Complex, The Meals That Made Me podcast. Make sure to check it out. Adam, it's been a pleasure, my friend, and good luck with your Tottenham. I hope they do well.
Thank you. You and me both. Now just pray for my fantasy side. We're so bad I changed my team's name to Barcelona.
Well, I did the horrible mistake of subbing Zinchenko and not drafting Mitrovic as well, because he put on the show as well this past weekend as well against Liverpool. I know, sad tear faces. Adam Richman, thank you so much, buddy. Make sure to follow him on all the channels I said and on social media. Qué Golazo Pod on Twitter, youtube.com/Qué Golazo. We will see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Till then.
Mwah.